The power of compounding. If there is one proven way to make a fortune in the stock market, it is through the power of compounding. No doubt, Albert Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. Welcome to today's exciting episode on BSE's Investor Education Awareness series. I'm Siddharth Zarabi, and we are going to discuss what compounding can do for your returns. Did you know compounding can make all the difference between a dull investment strategy and one that gives exceptional long-term results? Let's look at a real-life example. Let's say you invest 1 lakh rupees in a bank deposit, in a fixed deposit for 30 years, and that deposit is giving you a 5.5% rate of interest. Now, after 30 years, the savings grow to 76.4 lakh rupees, which is approximately 2.5 times the amount invested cumulatively. But if you consider equities that have historically outperformed every other asset class and the yield in approximate returns of 16% over a long period, the same amount of 1 lakh, remember we were discussing 1 lakh rupees invested for 30 years, would end up giving you 4.1 crore rupees. And that is the power of compounding. This translates into a return on the stock market of at least 13.5 times the amount you invested in that fixed deposit. The constant process of reinvestment of your capital gains is what produces the compounding effect. And this is what gives you earnings on top of your gains. And this is the very process that has transformed well-known and legendary stock market investment Warren Buffett into an icon. There are 3 more things that you need to keep in mind when it comes to compound interest returns, and this is very significant. First, the interest rate you are earning on your investment. When investing in stocks, this is your total profit from capital gains and the dividends. Secondly, the amount of time left to grow your investment. Remember, the more time you give your money to build upon itself, the more it can compound. Thirdly, the rate of taxation. This is also very, very significant. Remember, you also have to pay taxes on your gains. We hope we have generated interest in you and helped you understand the power of compounding. And before I leave you on today's episode, let me add to this information through a sensible piece of advice from yet another market expert. Take a look.
So I must honestly admit, even people like me learned and appreciated the power of compounding many years after I was in the stock market. This has been the key to success to many large investors in India as well as outside India. In fact, people like Buffett all the time only talk about power of compounding. And for anyone who is wanting to invest money, it is a must. It is a must to understand what does the power of compounding do to you. And for that, do not rely on what I am saying. Just take a pen and paper and a calculator and just sit. What happens to 1 lakh rupee if it is invested at a bank rate of 6-7%? What happens to that money in 15 years, 20 years? What happens if you are able to compound not at a bank rate but at a rate of debenture, which is let's say 9 or 10%? Then you see what happens in 20 years. Then you take 1 lakh rupee and compound it by the index, which is what I'm saying. What happens after 15 years if you compound it at the rate of interest? And then you take the same 1 lakh and see that if I am fortunate to understand the market, if I am fortunate to invest in good funds which are essentially outperform, what happens to 1 lakh rupee if you are able to compound it at 18 or 20%? You will see the difference in that 1 lakh itself is crores of rupees in matter of 20-25 years. So that is the power of compounding. So the power of compounding, even an investment of 1 lakh rupees, will make a difference of crores of rupees in a matter of 20-25 years. And that is how important it is to compound it. Which is why I am saying that, and how can you achieve this return on a compounded basis? If you actually buy good business, if you actually buy good company and sit on them. Everyone has a dream to compound money at 20-25%, but very rarely people end up compounding. And the other very important thing in power of compounding is to ensure that you don't lose money, because the moment you lose, if 100 becomes 50, there is a loss of 50%. But for 50 to become 100, there has to be a profit of 100%. So that is the difference, that you need to ensure that you invest in good businesses, even if you make slightly less money, but it must compound on its own, and you don't have to see a big volatility. And which is why many of us end up advising retail investors that you invest in good quality companies, and even if you are investing in funds, you invest in good quality funds, and you allocate money in the form of large cap and larger mid cap funds.